Hey, did you hear? Did you hear? The entire McMahon family was in the White House Oval Office. Did you hear? This is too late to sleep. Biggest topic this week has to be the Festival of Friendship. I have not been that depressed watching wrestling since the last time Darren Young wrestled. All right. It was a very well put together segment. I thought the reveal with the new clipboard, the list of KO, was very well done. Um, but a lot of people are making it out to be this huge thing, but we all knew it was coming. They'd not been together that long, and Kevin Owens always turns on people. We know this. Sami Zayn warned Chris Jericho it was going to happen. One thing I think a lot of people are missing was that this was not a spur of the moment decision. He had the clipboard ready. He had that made up. So people are saying, well, he was talking to Triple H. Well, maybe Triple H told him to pull the trigger, but he already had the chamber loaded because he had that ready to go. That's not something you get done on a spur of the moment. So that's something that a lot of people aren't picking up on, is that this was Kevin Owens' plan for, let's say, at least 8 hours. That's probably the turnaround time to get something done like that from props. Realistically, he would have had it well before then. That's something that's being kind of glossed over on all this. But other than that, I liked the segment. I thought it was well done. I'm curious to see where they go from here. It's going to be interesting to see Kevin Owens going into Fastlane against Goldberg without Chris Jericho. If Chris Jericho comes back from injury by then. I mean, I don't know how long they're going to write him out. I think Cena came back from getting power bombed on the apron real quick, but in NXT, I think that put Neville out for a few weeks. That was how they wrote out Sami Zayn for a couple weeks. It's a big deal. It's supposed to be a big deal. That power bomb on the apron is supposed to take you out for a while. So it'll be interesting to see if just when we see Chris Jericho again. If we see him this coming Monday, I'm going to be very disappointed. I'd really like to see him sell those injuries. But I guess the easiest thing to assume would be that we're going to see those two against each other at WrestleMania. Probably not for the Universal Championship. We had Bayley winning the Women's Championship on Raw. And with Fastlane coming up so soon, don't count on her holding it for very long. Bayley, I like Bayley. I'm not her biggest fan. I'm still a bigger fan of Charlotte than I am of Bayley, but she's good. She deserves the belt, but I'm getting tired of this trope of having women's title matches on Raw that Charlotte wins and women's title matches on pay-per-view. I'm sorry, I said that backwards. I'm getting tired of women's title matches on Raw that Charlotte loses and on pay-per-view that she wins. Obviously, I want her to win the title back. I'm assuming that'll be at Fastlane that they have the title match. But I would like to see her able to hold on to the belt on a Raw title match. I don't like how she's lost every televised title match. That's not good booking. It doesn't help her out. And I think winning the title so often in such a short amount of time is not good for the title either. Speaking of good for the title, the UK Championship was defended for the very first time in that wonderful UK village of Orlando, Florida. Do we have a shot of the United Kingdom Championship that we can throw up there? All right. Now, I understand what they're doing. They're trying to keep the belt fresh. in everybody's minds, but the title was specifically created for this division in the UK. And I really don't like that the very first time it's defended, it's in Florida. I hate that. I hate that. The European Championship was so devalued because the second title change was in America on a finger poke. I will concede. But after that, there was only ever one more title change in Europe. Every other time, it was in America. I think once in Canada. I won't swear to that. But the title gets devalued when it has a stated purpose, and then you immediately abandon that. There is no UK division if it's not in the UK. I get that Trent Seven and Tyler Bate are both members of what will be the UK division. They both were in the tournament and they're both British wrestlers. I get that. They can save this by keeping it just to British wrestlers until they set up the division and then leaving the belt in that. Now, if they want to bring it over for special occasions, and by that I'm really only counting WrestleMania, probably a pre-show match because of it being the UK division, which is basically NXT UK, or SummerSlam, same deal, pre-show. I'm okay with them doing it for a special occasion like that. I am not okay with them just doing it on a random episode of NXT. I think it would have meant more to have those two wrestle each other in a non-title match and said the next time these two meet will likely be a title match in the UK. I think you do that, you have them put on the same match, and it sells the importance of the title belt as actually having a meaning. And they didn't do that, and I'm disappointed. Finally, on Smackdown on Tuesday, we had Randy Orton refuse to face Bray Wyatt in the main event of WrestleMania. He's a true believer in the Wyatt family, and as long as Bray Wyatt is his master, he refuses to face him. Holy cow. Now, this does have precedent, because if you remember back at WrestleMania 14, Kane would not get a challenge from The Undertaker. He kept provoking him, but Undertaker refused to face his flesh and blood until he stopped refusing. And they eventually did have their match at WrestleMania. So this could be where they're going with it, where eventually Randy Orton decides that it's not worth holding out, or this could all be a ruse on his part, or wherever they're going with this. I am so excited to see where they go with this. It's such an entertaining story. I love that the answers aren't obvious. They're doing the Battle Royal this Tuesday to determine who's going to be the new number one contender. But what's Randy going to do when there's somebody else in the mix? Did he really give up his number one contendership from winning the Royal Rumble? So many questions, so hard to figure it out, and I love it. I love not having a clue. This is why I can't stand when people go out of their way to look for spoilers. It is so much more fun not having an idea and just being surprised. That is the end of the show for this week. Not a whole lot to talk about. Thank you for joining me. As always, I love each and every one of you Trampions. I am the Tramp. I'm going to toss up some videos, subscription link. Please hit like. Please tell your friends. I love all of you. Cheers.